All right. So some people I know, some people I don't know. My name is Brian Abarca, and who am I? I am a person who had some recent achievements in the past 5 years. Been awarded the Top Trainer Award by Self Magazine, Trainer of the Year by the New York Giants, and in the last 5 years, 50,000 a month in recurring revenue. So it's all about systems. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about personal training, but I want to give you guys as much value as possible because I'm the only trainer here, and I'm kind of assuming that you guys are in a similar realm. I want to give you guys as much sauce as possible with this. So, some more information about myself. I have some businesses. I have Abarca Fitness. I have Abarca Holdings. On top of my training business, I also have ATMs. I am also a podcast host. I have real estate, and I am newly a mentor for trainers now. So a question for you guys is, what are you looking to gain from today's event? At a show of hands, Ronnie, what are you trying to get from this event?
I definitely want to interact with you personally more. We haven't had time to speak in regards to like just having a one-on-one. I know there's a lot I can gain from just watching you speak and sharing your experiences, but I know those conversations mean more.
Perfect. Phil, what are you looking for this event?
Um, just expand my network, learn from others,
Okay. Learn what?
just see what you guys are up to,
Okay.
what you guys do.
All right. And
Apply
just
that.
Justin, what about you?
Just perspective, bro.
Perspectives.
You know, everybody, we're all here, we're all businessmen, and we all have a different perspective on it.
Okay.
So it'd be good to see it through somebody else's eyes because then we can look at our own businesses differently and maybe strategize that a little bit differently too.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think I'm very interested to see how you built everything from, because you've been doing this for 13 years, right?
13 years.
So it's kind of want to know how like your journey was, the 5-year mark, the 10-year mark, 13-year mark. How did you get to this point, and what mistakes you avoided, as well as what things you were really good at were outsourced. So I just want to know more like intricate details because you've been doing this for longer than probably any of us have been running a business. So,
Okay.
like he said, the perspective part.
Got it. And Manny?
Similar to what Kira mentioned, I really want to get into the sales and systems that you're applying to your own business, which I think can translate to my business as well.
Okay. All right. So sales, networking, trying to learn from others, perspective. I think in a sense, it all seems like you guys want to improve, right? So let's talk about improvement. Improving your physical and your mental. Since we're in this network as well, it's all about improving the physical and mental. So since I'm a professional in fitness, I want to give you guys a little bit of sauce with some fitness stuff and putting personal training aside. So physical, we're talking about diets. Are you eating well or are you not eating well? Okay, if you're not eating well, if you're starving yourself and you're trying to lose weight, then you're not gonna have energy to carry on your tasks for work. Okay, and if you're overeating, you're gonna be tired because of the things that you are eating. Okay, the training routine, if you're working out or you're not working out. All right, I know, Justin, you just lost, what, like fucking 45 pounds?
Nah, like
20 pounds. And it was a challenge that you guys had in your network, right? So, and you lost some weight as well. I saw the transformation, which is phenomenal. What did you guys apply?
diet was the biggest thing.
Okay.
Training routine.
Training routine. Anything else?
For me, it was mainly diet.
Training and diet. And it all comes down to lifestyle habits. Lifestyle habits like controlling your drinking. I'm sure you guys kind of like just step back just a little bit from drinking. You're not blacking out every night, you know? And also sleep, right? The blackouts definitely, right? And the sleep, you guys need to sleep as much,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
something that I have to prioritize. Something that I actually don't even, I have trouble with now still. With when your brain is running at 1,000 miles an hour, it's kind of hard to like be able to say, yo, let me call it a night. But I try, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's tough.
yeah.
And it's tough. And, you know, one of the main things that I learned was I was always someone who would go to sleep around 12 or 1 a.m. and I would wake up at 4 a.m. and I would have like 3 hours of sleep. And what would get me running was just caffeine. And it got to a point for more than like 9 months where I just started feeling run down. And the caffeine just wasn't caffeineing me anymore. You know, the coffees, the Monsters, the C4s, the Red Bulls, I just wasn't feeling. I would have two. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't even feel it anymore. So what I learned in the last 5 years was, and what really doubled my income from just breaking 6 figures, you know, after doing my taxes, to making $250,000 is literally just sleep. It sounds so like basic, but it's so underrated. Not many people just apply that. You know, so that's the physical part. The mental part is very, very important. The confidence, the mentality. I know there's some people, and I shared this with a few of you guys. And Manny, you're in sales. So I'm sure if there's that one person that just got away after a call, and then all of a sudden you have another call later on that day, and then your confidence is kind of low because that first call just didn't go your way and you felt like you shared so much sauce and you didn't close that person. And then that second call, you're just like, oh man, like, can you? And then you start having that commission breath and you start acting a little just too desperate by just like one additional question. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, by the time you don't close that one, the third one, you know, you're fucked. And all of a sudden you're in a funk, you know? And it just comes down to confidence. You want to kind of just like reset your mindset. And it all comes down together with the diet, the training routine, and the lifestyle habits. Being goal-oriented, being organized. You know, I live off of my calendar. So if you feel like you're going to do something and you're one of those people that say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to hit the gym, or tomorrow I'm going to eat well, tomorrow I have a sales call, tomorrow I actually have to find somewhere to live, I would schedule that shit in your calendar. Because all of a sudden, when you're scratching your ass or doing nothing, and then you get a notification, hey, it's time to book that penthouse. You got to book that penthouse now. You know what I'm saying? So being goal-oriented, put it somewhere in your calendar. And stress management. You know, we're all men here. We always deal with a lot of stress, high stress every single day. You need an outlet. So maybe it's not training. Maybe you work out like me every single day. You know, I don't use working out or weights as a stress reliever anymore. I use mitts and a boxing bag, and I kickbox. Why? Because, you know, my shorts don't have deep pockets, so now I don't have to worry about carrying a phone. And those notifications, I know all of you guys have been in the gym. You're like, yo, I'm gonna get it in. All of a sudden, you get an email, you get a text, you're doing work, and all of a sudden you just lose that momentum. 45 minutes pass, and you're like, oh fuck, I did a little something. I did some bicep curls, right? So it sounds simple, but you know, one thing that I learned about being in 13 years of owning a business is making sure you're efficient with the basics. And this is literally the basics. Make some time, do it, and then you're gonna see your revenue grow. Okay? That being said, when you end up meeting someone, it's very important on how you introduce yourself. Okay? When you meet someone for the first time, do you guys know what to say? Anyone? Manny, you're a good speaker. I've seen it firsthand, but you've met that person yesterday. You know, you're probably comfortable with just doing the video. What do you say when you first meet someone?
I don't really think about it. I wing it every single time. Whether it's, hey, I'm Manny, or hey, nice to meet you. And then if it's somebody in the trades, when I'm taking some sort of sales call, I know that it's very, down to earth. Yo, what's up, bro? Like, what's going on? And they react to that. So I guess, if it's somebody that looks very professional, hey, how you doing? Somebody that's blue collar, chill, down to earth, yo, what up, bro? Something like that.
Okay. And then if they say, oh, nothing, then what?
How's your, no, I rarely say how's your day going.
I just keep asking questions.
Okay.
That, exactly. Hey, what are you doing here? Nice to meet you, I'm Manny, I'm a new member, something like that.
Okay.
Even if it's dry, I still keep it going.
All right. So that's good. That's like salesy. I love that. So always asking question. Anyone else have like almost, I don't want to call it an elevator pitch, but like
Like a tone, right? And then also have a good tone.
first few lines, or have an idea of what to say in the first few? No one?
What are you saying about your business or just like?
No, when you meet someone.
I pick off like what's going on in the environment. Then
Okay.
I make a comment about it, and that's like my opener. So if I see Justin sitting there, I'll be like, and like the views behind, I'll be like, yo, this view is like, it's beautiful. Like I've been in a lot of cigar lounges and they don't have that view.
Right.
So I'll say something like that. It depends on the environment, but I'll try to bring something that we could both relate to.
Okay.
You know what
Anyone else?
Basics,
Like what?
shake their hand, look at them in their eyes,
Yeah.
repeat their name.
That's good.
Maybe a pat on their shoulder, their arm, their hand, depending on who they are, how big they are. Mirror matching their attitude, their tonality,
Right.
and your body language too.
I like that.
So those basics are like bundled up in the first 5, 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah. Body language is big too.
3 things. If you just step back and think about it in a macro, you ever heard of, everybody's salespeople here basically, at some point. So when you're in a call, you ever heard of the term like the first 15 seconds you make the sale or you don't?
Yeah.
Okay. When you meet someone, you're networking. It's almost sales, right?
Of course.
All right. Answer 3 questions. Who are you? What is your brand? Why are you important? Simple. Simple. Who are you? Name. Hi, my name is Brian Abarca. Eye contact, handshake, right? What is your brand? What do you do? If it's a nonchalant, not, like, how's the weather is great, but like, let's say, oh, if passing by, oh man, like, you seem like you're someone that I would love to connect with. You're strong, yada, yada, whatever. I love that cigar. I love your suit. Let's connect sometime. What's your Instagram? And then when they open up the Instagram, the first thing you see is your brand. Your name and your brand, right? That's the first 2 points. And why are you important? What type of service can you provide me for a transaction value? Because sales, at the end of the day, is somewhat of a transaction, is a transfer of trust. What can you do for me so that you can do something back for me? And I will do something back for you. Does that make sense? First 15 seconds. Who are you? What's your brand? How can you provide value?
To them, or just in general? But what if they're not a prospect, they're just a random person?
Anyone could be a prospect. Anyone could be a referral. So if I met, I forgot his name, Little Jimmy? Anthony. If I met Anthony, okay, if I met Anthony, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? Or the woman at the bar. Oh, how you doing? My name is Brian Abarca. What do I do? Oh, you know how women always like to build a booty? Yeah, well, I do that.
That was perfect. I heard that.
Oh, what do you mean? And then all of a sudden she's interested. You know what I'm saying? And then if she kind of like dabbled a little bit more, I would have just been like, oh yeah, I'm known as the booty doctor. That's my brand.
You're also solving a problem.
And then it's like,
There you go. And maybe she already has one, or she's not even interested in one, but maybe she knows her aunt or Rebecca or someone who wants, I didn't tackle that because I'm going to see her later on in an event, so it doesn't really matter.
Fitness trainer, you said.
I did not say I was a
You know
fitness
how,
trainer.
like, all the girls want to build a booty. Okay.
You know,
I say, you know how everyone hates paying taxes, so I help them pay less.
that's phenomenal. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So speaking about brand, what is the difference between a brand and the logo? Does anyone know?
A brand is you. A logo is a picture.
Okay. Anyone else? A brand is you, a logo is a picture.
More or less.
Logo is an emblem. A brand is an idea. And a brand is it's like what you're about.
Okay.
A logo is like an emblem of, or a mental picture of what your
All right.
business.
A logo is a picture.
Yeah.
Okay. We all agree on that. A brand, you were kind of getting close, is what you represent. To whom?
To the outside world.
Right. To people.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an audience and a following, right? So that's basically what it is. It's as simple as that. A logo is a picture. Okay. It could be anything. But a brand is an audience. Why do you have an audience? Why do you have a following? Because they trust you. So this is me. I've had my logo for, I don't know, maybe close to 10 years now. But now it's a brand. My clients wear it all the time. There's been times where clients will actually walk around the Hudson County area. They'll go to ShopRite, Whole Foods, whatever. And then all of a sudden, another client who's brand new or a lead who was kind of interested, oh, I've seen that logo before. Where is that? It's Abarca Fitness. It's my brand. Okay? You see my brand everywhere on my Instagram. You see a picture of my Instagram there. You know? So if people wear your stuff, whether it's a logo on a shirt, to them is not. To them is a brand. They trust something. And they'll represent it. All right?
Do you think that a logo becomes a brand?
Definitely. So if you have a logo, you need to start representing that logo. And you need to start building a reputation behind that logo. Whether it's customer service, you deal with a lot of clients and leads. So providing exceptional customer service and then giving them some type of gift for doing business with you, whether it's a cigar cutter, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's some shorts, whether it's gloves, whether it's something, a shaker bottle. They're like, oh wow, I'm gonna use this. They trust it. Then all of a sudden, once you start saying, hey, I just dropped a towel, I just dropped another t-shirt, I dropped some sweatpants, I dropped a hoodie. They trust the brand, they follow the brand, they love the brand, so they're gonna represent you. Because these people, they're not getting it because they like how it looks. It's because of me. They like the customer service. They like the representation. They like what it represents. And what it represents is results, transformations, a before and after. That's what it represents. That's why they're happy.
Is that a husband and wife?
That is a husband and wife.
Could have been brothers. I mean,
Yeah. They're both Indian. That's probably why.
How do you, I'm just curious, it's off topic, how do you keep like a respective relationship, or like a respectful relationship, when training a girl like that, and as a man, you could get a little like,
Always professional.
Yes.
Always professional.
yeah.
There's been many times where I've trained a woman. Maybe they'll flirt, maybe they won't. And it's not that they're interested, but maybe they're trying to see if there's a reaction. But always staying composed and always staying professional. For 13 years, all of a sudden a husband is like, oh, I'm actually interested in your trainer. You've seen results. He's been great. And then not changing your relationship with that wife or that husband when the other significant other comes, that's important as well. Because all of a sudden, if she ends up feeling like you're treating her different just because her husband's around, that's gray as well. So always being automatically professional with every single lead, every single client, even a potential lead, that's gold. You know, we're all guys, yeah, like, you know, we could be attracted to them, but, you know, do you just want, you know, your 30 seconds or your 1 hour of fame, or do you want money?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Whoa, what are you trying to say? That's crazy. Now when I black out.
So 3 essential things for sales. Okay, now that we got branding out of the way. What are, you guys are all salesmen. Okay, what are 3 essential things for sales? Communication,
Establishing trust.
establishing trust, I like that.
Value
Value,
Building rapport.
value to who?
to the consumer.
To the consumer, but you also want to trust in your own products as well.
Building rapport.
Rapport, yep.
Trust and education.
Trust, education. Anyone else? What about when you're in a sales call? What are 3 essential things in a sales call?
Motivation,
Okay,
time frame,
I love that. That's good. What else?
For me, it would be budget.
Budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so like pricing.
Yeah, because I deal with high ticket stuff. So for me, it's pricing. I try to gauge.
And Justin, let me challenge that.
Yeah.
Being devil's advocate, okay? I'm going off script here.
Yeah.
So, do you think someone's successful because you deal with a lot of high ticket value, right, and services and products? You think someone successful is going to worry too much about the money or a lot more about the value and just getting the job done?
It's tricky. It depends. So like, because I there's a huge span of people. So yeah, a lot of the time it's value, and then sometimes it is budget.
Okay.
Like, I have certain jobs where I'm like the highest bidder by like 100,000, and they still go with me.
Right,
There's other times where I'm just too expensive and I just can't do it.
right.
Um,
And you don't offer payment plans or anything like that?
for us, we work with a bank that finances directly to the homeowner.
Okay.
But it's tough in this market where you got a guy that'll come in and do something for fucking cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
There's us who we're legit. You know what I mean? Insurances, payroll, taxes, workers' comp,
Right.
all that stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely areas where we can get outbid.
Okay.
We try our best to just provide as much value.
Right. So what I think, where I'm trying to get at is, I mean, I'm a high ticket personal trainer. Okay. I could be competing with someone who says, oh yeah, I'll do this for $10. But if it's so cheap, then their perceived value is going to go down.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, if it's a multimillionaire, okay, and you're just like, oh yeah, I could get this done for 100,000. They're like, okay, you want a wire or credit card? Like, I just want this shit done quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a shit about the details. I want that picture. Do it. Boom. That's it. But then all of a sudden, these other demographics, they'll say, you know what? Oh man, it's 100,000. All right, I think I could do it. I could pull it off. But what about this? What about that? What about if it rains?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen there? And it's just unnecessary questions.
Yeah.
So it's all about, you know, establishing frames, just like Tim says.
I was gonna say one thing, demonstrating that you're an expert, because in my field of work, like if I hop on a call with someone that husband and wife, they make like $350,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like they don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to money, they're gonna get turned off.
Yeah.
So demonstrating like, oh, okay, I know what a SEP IRA is. I know exactly what it is to have all the LLCs. I have a chart on my office like that has the S corp, C corp, how they get filed. So if they say, well, we have a C corp, so I say, oh, so you guys pay Schedule C. Yeah. So then it's like I also sound like I know what I'm talking
Right.
about. And so demonstrating that I'm an expert is, so demonstrating that is huge.
It's establishing frame and status. You know, it's the first, some people say 15 seconds, some people say 30 seconds, but in the first 15 or 30 seconds, establishing a status and frame, even if if it's just nonchalant to the point where they're getting on the Zoom call with you and you're getting on the Zoom call, you're the first person to speak. And you're like, hey, can you hear me? Can you see me? Because I can't see you. You're establishing frame right there. And you didn't even try to sell anything yet. You know? Or how about when someone has the video camera off and then you have the video camera on and you feel like a dumbass. You're like, oh man, I'm just talking to a black wall. But something so small like, hey, I think your video's broken. And then they're like, oh man, wait, hold on. You're taking the lead right there and you're establishing frame.
Oh, that's actually interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Broken.
Psychology. And it's nonchalant. It's like, hey, can you turn on your video? It's like, no, I'm independent. Like, I'm a boss, babe. Like, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if I think your video's broken. Oh, no, it's not. Here, look. It's me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Asking 90% of the time. That's just asking questions. Okay? So this is something a few of you mentioned when you guys are introducing yourself, asking questions. That's good, especially when you are in a sales call, because the only time you want to speak is when you're asking questions. Most of the time, when you're speaking, you want to say, hey, the video's on. And most of the time when you're speaking is when you're talking about the pricing. Hey, by the way, is this price? Boom, don't speak. It's just asking questions. But why are you asking questions? Is to find pain points. Now, it's going to sound so bad, but it's finding what gets them emotional, all right? And it's like you finally found the area that's a soft spot, okay? This may be graphic, and then it's like stabbing that soft spot. And then once you stab it, they're like, ouch. And then you want to twist it so that it could really, really hurt. And you're just like, oh man, there's no way I cannot get off this phone without Manny's product or without Justin's product. Another way you could frame it is, selling the vacation, but everybody says that.
Yeah.
Not the work that they have to do. Oh, by the way, you have to go to the bank and then get some financing through a credit union, or you have to end up eating well, working out, training program. Then you have to click this and then download Google Meet and then do. No, it's like, all right, you're going to lose 100 pounds in December for the wedding that's going to come up, for the husband that lives in Egypt, and he's going to be coming here, and you guys are finally going to get married.
That's better than,
You know what I'm saying? But how did I know all this, the whole context is by asking questions and just keep fishing for the stuff. Because 9 times out of 10, it's like, hey, like, well, what are you doing here? Or like, what problem are we trying to solve? And they're like, well, I'm and relating to fitness is, I'm just trying to gain weight. Oh, okay, noted. All right, so what are you struggling with right now? You just brushed over, I'm just trying to gain weight. What do you mean gaining weight? Oh, well, I've been skinny my whole life and I feel unconfident, and then all of a sudden they start mentioning their fiance, and then all of a sudden their fiance is not having sex with them anymore. And then all of a sudden they're starting to tear up and they're like, oh man, no sex since when? You see how like I'm like stabbing that shit? And it's just questions. All the time.
Wow.
My call today, before I closed, she was crying. I'm not gonna put it on camera, but yeah, it is what it is. But and it's not negative, but like you're just you're manipulating, but in a positive way. You're surfacing all the pain that they have built down inside, and you're getting it from subconscious to conscious level. All right, and then from there you want them to realize the gap. And then they're like, oh my God, like there's gonna be so much distance between here and here that I need Manny's product. I need Phil's product. All right, so a lot of people have different approaches between sales calls, between calls, period. Some people close in one call and some other people close in 2 calls. Out of hands, how many of you guys close in 1 call? And what about 2 calls? Okay. All right.
It depends on the size.
It depends on the size. All right.
I'd say like anything under, for me, anything under like 10 grand is usually could be like 1 call. Anything over 10 grand is usually gonna be like more than 1 meeting.
Yeah, that makes sense. It depends on the budgeting.
Yeah. Which is, it's good to be able to kind of gauge and read the room and read kind of where you're gonna go with it.
Yeah, you know, one of the main reasons why I personally don't do 1 calls is because I don't like to waste time. There's been times where I will ask questions and they go and go and go, and then all of a sudden it's an hour in, okay, and it's just a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
They laughed with you, they cried with you, you know, and you guys got to know each other's name, family, and what the husband does and whatnot. What do you do for the weekends? And then all of a sudden, you drop the price and they're like, yeah, no. What are you talking about? I still need to talk to my husband or my wife. And then you just wasted like an hour and a half of just complete garbage. So what I like to do is cut it up into 2 calls. A 10-minute call and then a closing call. So the 10-minute call, what I like to do is status and frame. Okay. Do that little video trick 9 times out of 10. Hey, I can't see you, yada, yada. And I'm actually going to share a script with you guys. And you guys could copy and paste it and then just plug in according to your field to give you guys some sauce. But what I typically do is, okay, by the way, I was able to squeeze you into this appointment. All right, establishing frame. I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. It's a short call. Right after this call, I have another call. So we are in this window. I need efficiency in your answers. Get to the point, because then all of a sudden they're just going to go into the roller coaster ride again. And you don't want that. You want simple answers, and then you want to be a good note taker. You're not just going to be writing notes all the time, but key emotional words and putting it on a notebook. For example, like, I felt lonely. You know, my backyard looks horrible. I hate my backyard. My roofing is leaking. My floor is cracked. You know, oh, my husband hasn't had sex with me in a month. No sex in a month. Now, and then 5 minutes later, once you're asking questions, now, what did you mean in the closing call, okay, on the second call, what did you mean when you said that your husband does not have sex with you? Can you elaborate on that? You said that yesterday. I just need more context just so that I can know how severe this issue really is. Well, yeah, you know, I was a size 6 before. Now I'm a size 18. Oh, and when was the last time you were size 6? You see how like it's like, okay, I found the 6 to the 18, but it's like, how long has it been?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been like 10 years. Oh, damn. Jesus.
You do that? Like you said, you'll be like, damn.
You know what's crazy? Like, I didn't believe in this. I didn't believe in like just the reaction, but I got a sales mentor after 13 years. And my sales mentor told me that, especially since now after 2020, the shutdown and everything is through Zoom, most people don't or lack that emotional, the emotional connection with people. Okay, so when you're knee to knee with someone, face to face in your office, you could be a little bit more emotional with someone. But when you're on a video, they feel like they're already interrogated. They feel like it's a typical sales call. They know it's a sales call. Everybody has it's the same sales pitch. But now what she's doing is almost like understanding now, oh, wow, like this guy really gets me. By just doing, oh, man, what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my sales script. I'm going to share my sales script with you guys. Okay, my 10-minute call.
Is this usually the discovery or the?
This is the discovery only. I mean, if you want to listen to my sales, that's going to be another 3 hours. So I'm only giving you sauce for my discovery. Okay, you guys can take pictures if you want, make it your own. Okay, but listen to like the tonality and like my pauses. Okay. Hey Timmy, can you hear me okay? Can you see me? Because I can't see you. I think your video might be broken. It looks like we were speaking on Instagram the other day and you booked a call about possibly building glutes so that you can build your confidence, right? Little things like that where you're just pausing, okay? People, especially on video chats, they can't process multiple words and sentences. Because if you're just yapping, they're gonna just forget, and I've done this too when I'm on a sales call. I just forget the first 15 seconds, and then it's the last question, the last word that they mention, and it's like, yeah, or no. And that's why your answers are so dry.
Yeah.
So just pausing and elongating your sentences will really give you what you're looking for.
And even something that you have there, which I actually learned from, I saw it from Jeremy Miner, who's also a sales mentor.
Mm-hmm.
It's the can you, like you're repeating it. Something that I've noticed is like, when you obviously want to have good communication, but when it seems like you're not the greatest, it also could bring their guard down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you know, they say not to use filler words, but even when you throw one in, it's like,
You use it strategically versus unconsciously.
Yeah. I've seen that work a lot. Like people will bring their guard down. Like you don't always have to sound perfect.
Right.
I noticed that works.
Right. Because it also looks like it also sounds natural as well.
Yeah.
You know, but not to the point where like you're just reading, you're like, all right. So continuing this. So what is it that you have been going over in those basic Instagram reels that caused you to want to look into this further? You're already asking questions because you want to ask this question to put yourself on a status quo. Like you're framing yourself because at the end of the day, they have an issue and they're asking for help. Okay? And what were you hoping could happen by me possibly training you? Okay, so what were you hoping could happen by me fixing your backyard? How would that change your lifestyle?
Yeah. Which for us it would be, what do you imagine your backyard to look like? And then that's when we'll niche into, do they have kids, grandkids, do they entertain a lot?
Right. And then what I like to do, now this call is pretty simple. It's really more for us to find out what you're currently doing now and the results you're getting compared to what you're wanting. So what I just did there is establish that they're at ground 0 and we need to get to like ground 100. And there's that distance where, that level where we need to kind of establish that gap. What's up, guys?
Hey, good to see you. Well, yeah, we'll just take this.
Find a seat. What's up, baby? How you doing? Now the dots here are pauses. So once they're replying, that's not just having a bigger booty and losing weight, it's to feel more confident. Just to see what that gap looks like and to see if I can help. Now, it's not, I am going to help. It's not, we're definitely can solve your issues. It's if I can help. Again, status and frame. And towards the end of the call, if you feel like it might be what you're looking for, we can talk about possible next steps, possible framing. I don't even know if I could help you. I need to learn more about you. Because if you're not asking these type of questions, then they're the ones leading the conversation. And then you just don't want to be interrogating, because then you lose that frame. Okay? Whoops. So this is the discovery call. I'm missing one more. Oh man. Manny, if I text this new one to you, would I be able to open it up here? I think I got it. Is it connected? Yeah.
Yep, just got it. So, tap right here.
Okay, cool. Got it.
Share one more time.
Guys are really quiet.
Yeah. Eager to learn.
Perfect.
And a silent library.
A couple of you extra ones.
The ones.
Okay, so
By the way, if anyone wants drinks, like, I guess you can ask her if anybody wants.
Whatever you need. Single or double espressos? Double espresso.
I'll do a single.
Double espresso?
I'll take it as well. Yes.
Double espresso too?
Yeah, another one for that.
So 4 double espressos.
a number double.
5 double. 6 double. You got it.
Thank you so much. All right, so that's the first part of the 10-minute call that I was talking about. Second part, and again, you can take a picture of this and you can plug in your own field of business. Can you walk me through what you're doing now to what I usually say is build your glutes, lose 15 pounds? These are clarifying questions. This way you could get a little bit more information and context. Again, find those pain points so that, again, find that soft spot, stab them, and then you could twist it and then close the deal from there. Okay? So, for example, Rebecca would say, oh, how long have you been doing that for? Oh man, it's been 15 years that I haven't been a size 6, and now I want to be a size 6 now, and I've been a size 18. Okay. And when you are working out the gym or doing workouts at home, do you feel like you know what you're doing? Again, trying to find more pain points. Do you make it as you go, or what does that look like? So I can have more background. Now I ask that so that they can actually realize that they're just winging and they don't have any guidance. Okay? And then those sound effects that I was telling you, Justin. So you don't have anything customized to your own body type? Well, body type, what do you mean? Yeah, I mean, you need something for your own body type. So you're saying that you don't have that? Yikes, that could be trouble. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man, so what are you going to do? And what about what you're eating? Again, pause. Are you on any type of diet, or do you just eat whatever? And then they're just, typically they end up saying, oh, well, you know, I usually eat my toast and then my Eggo waffles and then my cereal and then my kids are running around, so then I only have a milkshake and this and that. Whoa, 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 whoa. When they start talking, you're like, whoa, 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 you're in page 15. I'm still at page 1. Status and frame. Status and frame. Because all they want to do is just keep talking. But you want to navigate through the conversation. So it's more questions about diet. Again, trying to find those pain points. So then this is how I transition from diet to energy. So do you actually know how much protein, carbs, and fats you specifically need to eat every day to not feel tired? Because you mentioned you were tired. Do you feel tired throughout the day? Everybody's fucking tired throughout the day. Yeah, oh my God. And all of a sudden, they're like, yeah, this guy gets me. They say, yeah, I feel tired. Oh, ask more questions about, during what time? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the morning? Okay, so I deal with a lot of women. So sometimes it could be a little disrespectful or crossing the line or the boundary, the professional boundary of just saying, hey, how much do you weigh? Okay, can't ask a woman that. So sometimes, and again, if you're in a video call, you want to show expression, use your hands and pauses. So listen, Rebecca, how much do you want to weigh today? You laugh, you kind of lean back. She laughs. Oh my God, I wish I was 120. All of a sudden, she's unconsciously saying what her goals are. But, you know, I'm actually 195 pounds. And again, finding those little pain points. Are you in premenopausal symptoms? Like, are you having brain fog, fatigue? Or any hormonal balances? Why do I say that? Now, everybody and the mother ends up saying they have a hormonal imbalance. They have thyroid issues. They all say that. Oh yeah, actually, my doctor, or sometimes they even self-diagnose themselves. Yeah, I was scrolling through TikTok. Yep. Some woman said they were tired and they felt bloated. So all of a sudden, I have hypothyroidism. I have a thyroid issue. No, you're just eating like shit and not working out.
They're all researching shit on Google too, probably.
Okay, and this is a nice little sauce to get to know what they do for a living. Okay. You can say, what do you do for work, Rebecca? Or what I usually like to say is, are you sitting or standing all day? Oh, well, at work, I usually sit all day. Oh man, so you're pretty sedentary all day. Yeah. So is this an office job or? You pause. No, actually, you know, I'm a waitress, but I just like to sit all day. And for guys, whenever I train them, you know, I usually like to ask about blood work.
For guys, blood work?
And see if they tested their test levels. Okay, that's extremely important. 9 times out of 10, they don't. You haven't checked your test levels? Well, no wonder you're extremely tired and you're overweight and you're a size 42. Oh man, now I'm gonna have to make a doctor. No, you don't have to make a doctor's appointment. All you have to do is start working out, train 2 times a week of lower body, and that's a natural testosterone booster.
When do you recommend a test level for guys that you train? Maybe a couple weeks in?
Yeah, once they buy, then so off script. So once Once they end up signing, giving you the credit card info, the debit card, then you end up mentioning the work that they have to do. You never want to mention the work that they have to do, especially on a first call, ever. Because again, you want to, like people say, you want to sell the vacation. You want to tell them, hey, you got to download this, then you got to call the bank, then you got to get a loan for the credit union and all this. You want to sell what they want. If they're going to end up losing 100 pounds for their wedding in December, they're going to lose 100 pounds in a wedding in December. Oh, so how am I going to eat? How am I going to... Listen, I worry about that. That's my job. All you have to do is just follow my lead. Again, status and frame. Okay, so there were some sauce here that I really want to get into because you guys do deal with family. And again, you could take a picture of this, copy and paste, plug things out. Nowadays, you don't know if a woman is divorced or a man is divorced or not. So forgive me, I forgot to ask. Are you on your own or do you have a family? Do you take care of a family? For a guy or for a girl? For a girl, oh yeah, I'm an independent mom and I just got divorced and yada yada. Or that, oh yeah, I take care of my wife, I have 4 kids, all this stuff. What's his or her name? Why do I ask that? I ask that because 9 times out of 10, a woman or a man nowadays, they're going to say, oh, I actually have to speak to my spouse about this. You ever gone that? Yeah? And they're stern with it. No, I really have to speak. He handles the bills, she handles the bills. I don't deal with that shit. I have to ask him. Oh, what's his name? Oh, and what do they do? You want to know what they do because if they're working as a sales associate in H&M, why the hell are you going to try to sell a high ticket offer? Or why, in Justin's point of view, maybe they're going to have to get a loan. Maybe you could just already start offering the finance part when you start closing. Instead of saying, oh, yeah, it's $1 million. Oh, man, I have to work overtime in H&M. That's not going to happen.
Brian, there's a saying in my industry, it's don't pitch the ditch.
Mm.
It means like don't talk to the person that doesn't have control. So I always say, who takes the lead on the finances? Is it you? Is it 50-50? Is it your husband? Then I figure out if it's the wife, or I don't have the wife on the call, I go to the next call with both of them before I even get into it, because I don't want to waste my time.
Right.
And they're like, I can't make a decision if my wife's not on the call, if my husband's not on the call. So I learned that, and it's led to me being more effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if that's effective to you, perfect. What I've dealt with when I've said that, because I've used that line before, they would usually say, oh, we both do it. But, I still want to talk to him. Oh, okay, let's schedule a second call with him and then we can go over. And then there's a no-show. What's going to happen then? Then you're harassing them on the phone. You already have them on the phone.
Yeah, I think it's a little different for me at times because it's more just figuring out who makes more money, who's the bank account's name in, who's going to ultimately give me their money when I move it over,
Right.
Or when I have them contribute to like an investment account.
Yeah.
So you're right. If I do have the husband already, and he's like, well, let's focus on with me, then we'll bring her later. I'll usually do the finances with him,
That's perfect.
and he'll say, like, Hero, my wife needs to do this because we're together. And if
Yeah.
she doesn't do it,
Right.
she's gonna be, I don't want.
Exactly.
Then I'll bring her individually, and then, or even together, and then they're both fine.
Yeah. All right, closing the 10-minute call. Before you end up finishing the call, you want to bring the pain to the surface level. So you want to ask specific questions, okay? What I usually like to do is I like to reiterate the emotional words that I take notes of in the first 10 minutes of that call. The first call is 10 minutes. You know, if they say, I feel lonely, I feel fat, I hate myself when I look in the mirror, yada, 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 write down those words. Okay, so I just like to review my notes before we get off this call, because I have a call right after, again, establishing frame. Real quickly, and if you feel like you maybe forgot something, feel free to chime in. Okay? You felt like you were fat, hate yourself, blah, blah, blah. Is this right? Yes. Is this right? Yes. Confirm, confirm, confirm. Sometimes they'll even sprinkle, oh yeah, oh, and I just got divorced like 2 weeks ago. Oh wow, that's great. Divorced 2 weeks ago. That's more ammo for the second call.
That's great.
Literally.
Keep going.
Okay? Oh, okay, got it. A nice,
Would you sympathize with that, or what do you do with like if they said that?
no, because that's a rabbit hole. You're like, oh, okay. Wow. And then that's,
So you just ski right over it?
acknowledge it with sound effects, or what you can also do, what I usually like to say is, wow, so you have 3 kids and you just got divorced. It was 2 weeks ago. You're so strong. That's so independent of you. Like most clients that I deal with, they wouldn't be in the position you're in right now, reaching out for help. You know? You don't scheme over that, but you want to react, acknowledge, move on. That's ammo for the second call. Okay? Because then all of a sudden they're just going to go into details and how much of he's an asshole and yeah.
Cheated on me and
Right.
all men cheat.
So a nice price question, 9 times out of 10, if you actually did the call right, they're gonna ask for a price. Can you just give me a ballpark of like what the price of your services are? 9 times, if you did your job right, they're gonna ask for the call. They're gonna ask for the price, okay? What do you do when that happens? I've done the mistake in the past of giving them a range. I've done the mistake of giving them the cheapest price or even pitching the most expensive price. And they're like, oh man, no show. Don't do that. I've been through that 13 years. Don't fucking do it. Okay? When I usually say, yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. That's extremely important. Don't say, okay, yeah, we'll go over that a little later. Yes, for sure. We can definitely go over prices. It really depends on how often you can train, how quickly you want results, and if you want diet advice. But I need a better understanding of all 3. Would that help you? You need to finish the pitch with would that help you? Because at the end of the day, it's all about them. If you end up saying, well, I think as a professional, I've said that, turns them off. They're like, oh, commission breath, sales guy, don't like it. Fuck this guy. I just cried on the phone call. I just laughed. I told him about my life, and he's a sales pitch. No, I'm not gonna do that. Do not do that. Okay? Would that help you? Yeah, I understand. You have to give them context, because if not, if you just brush over them, even if they show up on the second call, they're gonna bring that up in the first 5 minutes of the second call. And if you do not attack that and just give them context on why you need more context, they're gonna be like, listen man, like I just need a price. And then all of a sudden, and I've been there before, you're on edge, and you're like, you're stuttering, you're like, oh, because it ruins the flow of the conversation. You want to establish the flow of the conversation, especially on the second call. But that's another 3-hour sauce, okay? And that's the presentation. Okay? Any questions? Any concerns?
I just wanted to acknowledge that your frame is very question-based, and I feel like you guide the client very well for them to understand themselves a lot better, their situations, their goals. It's like
putting up a mirror in front of them and saying, these are all the things that you want to tackle, but letting them say it, you hearing it from them instead of just assuming.
Yeah.
Taking your time to really listen to them. I think that that's very important.
Yeah, I mentioned this before you guys came. It's all about, I always say, positively manipulating a conversation. And it's not attacking them, but it's what they're holding in the unconscious level. And then making those things, those pain points, surface on the conscious level. And then once they realize all this shit and the gap, then they realize this whole gap and they're like, oh shit, I'm all the way over here. I need to get here. And that's the point where they're not going to say at the end, oh, let me think about the price. Because it's like, oh man, I really need this.
Why would you say they aren't able to come up with that realization on their own?
Some people, they could be in denial. They're not organized. You know, I spoke earlier about improving yourself physically and mentally. And on the mental aspect, especially since I deal with more women are a little bit more emotional. They're more psychological. It's all about their confidence level. If their confidence level are low, they're not goal-oriented. If they're not goal-oriented, they're not managing their stress levels efficiently. And if they're not managing their stress levels efficiently, then their whole mental is off. And if their whole mental is off, they need guidance to surface all those pain points. You know?
Yep, I agree.
Any questions? Concerns? What's
I
up?
have a quick question. So I know we're very similar because we only do 2 call closes. And I'm the same way as you on the first call, all questions, asking them questions. They speak 90% of the time. On the second call, are you the one that's speaking 90% of the time explaining it, or
Yeah.
what percentage?
Still. So what I typically do, I'll give you the intro of the second call. I'll do the same thing. Usually they'll be a little bit more friendly. They're like, oh my God, Brian, how you been? Status frame. Hey, can you hear me? Can you see me? Because I can't see you. Is your video working? Hey, you're still on mute. Again, establishing the questions so that you can navigate them well through the second call. Okay, so listen, Rebecca, you opened up to me and so many clients do open up to me, but I feel like we had that established connection since you were so vulnerable. I just need a little bit more context so that I can give you the proper guidance on what we're trying to achieve together. On our first call, you mentioned, and the notes that the emotional words, you mentioned you were lonely. Can you elaborate on that? Why do you feel so lonely? And then they give you more. If they give you surface questions, you just go back to some framing like, I don't have it here, some framing like, they end up saying, yeah, I just feel lonely, you know, my husband does not have sex with me anymore. Wait, so your husband is not having sex with you at all? How long has that been? Oh, and then they start thinking, oh, yeah, you know, actually it's been like 4 months. Wait, so 4 months you haven't had sex at all? Man, so how are you managing that? Like literally just asking questions about that topic, that ammo that you jotted down on your notes. So what it does is it elongates the second call, but it's all with the meat and not just the brief appetizers. It's like the appetizer and then the entree. And then once you feel like they're emotional enough and they're giving you so much depth and personal information, you're like, oh, wow. And in the second call, in the first call, you also mentioned that you haven't applied, you know, anything in the last 6 months. And you felt like you wanted to get back to the size 6 and now you're a size 18. When was the last time you were a size 6? then they're thinking, oh man. And then so what you're doing is you're almost bullet pointing all those pain points, and you want them to elaborate, and you want to fill in with paragraphs. And then once you end up going through all the pain points, okay. And then there's a few approaches on the closing where, you can close from there. If you do it right, once you end up giving them the pricing, they're like, oh, yeah, okay.
And a follow-up question to that is, right now, you made me realize I have to ask more questions in that second call. So in my case, the first call is more about, okay, who I am, what I do. Before that, it's, I asked them, what are you looking to get out of this call? Of course, I only work with landscapers and hardscapers. That's like my niche. And so a lot of them already know who I am because they've seen it.
How are you getting your leads?
A lot from the podcast that I do. I bring a lot of the top guys
Okay.
in the industry. And also.
So they follow you already?
Right. Some of them follow me, some of them don't, but they know that I work with some of the top guys in the space. So
Perfect. Pause right there. So since they already know who you are, you don't have to waste too much time on introducing yourself and what you do.
Gotcha. And so I had a client of mine sell me out, and I've gotten a bunch of leads over the last 2-3 weeks, where I've been like back to back to back. Long story short, on the second call, the first call was more about where they are, what the motivation is, why they want to focus on branding and marketing. And then I put together a free strategy, right? I asked for who are your top 3 competitors. I do a little bit of research, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I put it into a document. And I always say I don't charge for information, I charge for implementation. So at the end of the second call, to get them to show, I say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a strategy for free.
I like that.
And then at the end, we decide if we work together or not. And so the second call is me explaining, I read back to them what they told me in the first call, where they are, where they want to be. And
How are you asking that?
Good question. I wanted to mention that. So I say on the first call, I'm like, hey, listen. So over the next 6 to 12 months, where are you looking to be at? And I do this exact most. Where are you looking to be at with your company? And then they say, oh, the goal is to do, we're doing 500K right now. We want to do 1 million in the next year. And they'll say, oh, I'll say, okay, cool. And so where are you at right now? Like, that downward inflection. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, so far this year we've made 200K. Well, the next year we want to do 1 million, for example. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Those questions I would do for the discovery call, for the 10-minute call.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do that on the first call. This is the first call.
Okay, so this is the first. This is not the second call.
Yeah,
So what do you do in your second call where you
on
feel
the
like you're
second
not?
call, it's like I describe that actual strategy that I put together for them on what their competitors are doing.
That's the sales pitch. That's the sales pitch. So the presentation, what you just did, all that,
Right.
you don't want to start that. You don't want to put that in the body. You want to put that at the end.
No, but I'm saying that's the second call.
Right.
What I
And
just-
in the second call, there's the intro, body, close, the sales pitch. You put that presentation on the sales pitch.
But that's what I mean. Like, for example, the second call, we get on, I read back to them their pain points and where they're looking to be. And
How
then
long
I
does
can
that go
say,
for?
Maybe like five minutes to the initial part of it.
Bro, deeper. Too brief. I used to do that. I used to do that like last year. Okay? And it would be a hit or miss. I would still close, but my close rate would be shaky.
That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, so what happens is sometimes they buy into you, which is why they're in the second call with you, but emotions change within 24, 48 hours. And if a week has passed by or even 24 hours has passed by, you need to hit those pain points again. It's almost like as if, you remember how like in the intro call, I find the pain points and I just stab them?
Right.
Okay? I didn't twist on that. The second call is the twisting. So, just like I mentioned before, hey, Rebecca, you mentioned XYZ. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Okay? And if it sounds like they'll probably answer with just surface level. What do you mean by that? Okay, branding, you're barely doing marketing? What do you mean you're not doing marketing? And they have to go into that. They have to go into that more. Now, I'll send you a few questions where like they have no choice but to continue the conversation, and then that's a me. Because like what my mentor told me, because I was doing the same thing, it's like you're almost doing the intro call again on the second call, but you got to remind them of the pain points. So once they bring up the pain points, once you ask them the questions of the reminding of the pain points, they need to they need to let you twist the knife.
Yeah, no, I 1000%. I have the mental.
You know, so those pain points need to literally be maybe most of the call, literally most of, not the 5 minutes. That's why it's so surface level. So then that's why you did all the work. You show the presentation. Yeah, listen, we could do X, Y, Z, and then we could move X to Y, and then Y to Z, and then you're gonna get A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, let me think about it.
And what Brian's trying to say too is also like with some of those guys is when you ask deeper in like, oh, are you doing any marketing? No, not really. Like, none at all. Like, do your employees wear company shirts? Now you find out if they have employees.
Or even better, I like that. Oh, but you're still wearing t-shirts though, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing t-shirts. You're not even doing t-shirts?
Be like, oh, come on.
Jeez.
And these are trade guys where you could kind of bully a little bit. Like, come on, bro. You're not doing t-shirts. And then you could say, now you could find out trucks. Please tell me you have logos on your trucks at least. No, it's because it's my personal truck. And come on, bro, business.
Yeah, and you know what I'm doing? I'm getting the answers to those, but I'm not doing it in a way like you mentioned, like where it actually drives pain. I just ask, so how many guys do you have? How many trucks do you have? But that doesn't drive that emotion like that.
Exactly. You're jotting the notes. They're answering. It's almost like what you're doing is you're getting into the depth in the first 10-minute calls, and then the second call, you're just briefly overviewing the pain points, and then you're like, hey, listen, like because this, do that, and
That's
it's.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
And the other thing is too, something that I've noticed in sales calls, when you ask right away, like instead of trying to figure out how many employees they have and you just directly ask it, they're gonna more interpret that as like you're trying to figure out how many employees they have, so that you can kind of gauge how much money they make, so that you can kind of figure out how much you're gonna charge. So then they're gonna be careful with what they say.
Good point. They might even give an honest answer that's not even honest. They might even try to say, oh, I have 10 employees when they have 20, 30.
Less or more, I use subs, like, you know what I mean? You kind of just gotta figure it out as you go.
100%.
Cool. Good questions.
Can I
Anyone
ask
else?
one
Yeah, go ahead.
more that? Yeah. So now I know that I need to dive deeper or twist that up, as you mentioned on that second call. When it comes down to, we did a little 5-minute brief intro, which I'm gonna fix, and then we go into the strategy that I put together. It's me talking like 90% of the time. I'm not really asking questions, and then I ask, hey, is it okay if I show you a proposal? Like I show the solution, the strategy, and then I say, hey, you know what? But no worries, we're gonna fix this. I actually have a proposal ready. Is it okay if I show you that? And they say, yeah, of course. And then I'll talk again for another like 5 minutes, 5, maybe 6, maybe even 10 minutes if it's long. Going through my proposal, and it's me talking the whole time. And then before I say the price, I say, hey, I spoke a lot. I'm passionate about this. Before we proceed, I just want to make sure I answer all of your questions. Is there anything else that could stop us from working together aside from the price? And then answer whatever questions, and then reveal the price. What do you think about that? Am I speaking for too long in between?
You're speaking for too long, and then I would.
Too much curiosity.
I wouldn't.
About you too.
You know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't say towards the end, is there anything that's gonna stop us from making this deal or whatever text you said? I would reframe it to just a curious question, maybe on the first call.
What type of question would you ask?
Like before you even tell them, before you even get off the first call, since you're giving them free sauce and like this whole presentation,
Right.
they're gonna want to get that free presentation because everybody loves free shit. You're like, hey, by the way, you know, to put their guard down, somewhere in the 10-minute call, you could be like, by the way, I'm not gonna sell you anything today. I just want to get to know your business, yada yada yada. Give you some sauce so I could come up with a whatever you end up doing in the presentation so that and you'll get that for free, and most people end up charging that. But just out of curiosity, is there anything that would stop you from not working with me
On the first call.
on the first call? That's like a worst case scenario. That's like a plan B or plan C if they're extremely surface. But if you're asking the right questions, you'll start having an idea of what are the rejections that you're going to get on the second call. For example, today I had I should turn the cameras off. I don't want to put some people on